so today's video is going to be on how to look good in flats as a petite. Now, as a petite person myself, I'm only 4'11". I really struggle sometimes styling flats to make them look flattering on me and still make my legs look kind of elongated, because flats can be really difficult to style if you are short as well. So hopefully these tips help you. So I'm just going to get straight into the video. So tip number one would be to choose a pair of flats which have a little bit of an arch to them. So a good example of this would be these loafers from H&M, and I'll leave links to everything that I'm kind of showing and speaking about down below in the description box. It just really helps to elongate your legs, especially with styles like platform style flats like this. So they've just got that little bit of a chunky heel at the back and then kind of slope down, and this is really flattering just to kind of lift your leg up a little bit so it arches, and it just helps to elongate your legs. And instead of something flat, for example, like I'll get onto in a minute, if your shoe is just like that, it's just kind of finishing, it's not really giving you that nice tilt, which really helps to kind of flatten and elongate your legs. So yeah, definitely opt for a pair of shoes which have a little bit of an arch to them. Another great option for flats if you're petite is to opt for a pair of flats which have a bit of a pointed toe. Now this doesn't have to be, you know, an extremely pointed style. It can be if that's, you know, a pair that you like, but just opt for styles which tend to have more of a kind of elongated pointed style rather than a square toe. Square toe flats can really chop your legs off if you are that little bit shorter, just because it's kind of making your legs finish at a very kind of blunt point, whereas the kind of pointed toe helps to kind of elongate everything out. It's very hard to explain these tips, but I'm trying my best. But yeah, opt for pointed toe styles instead of square toe styles. And this pair brings me on to my next tip, which is to opt for neutral tones. It depends what your personal style is, but as a generic rule, if you're wanting to kind of elongate your legs and you just want a foolproof way to style flats if you are shorter, definitely opt for a neutral color like this. That's kind of a similar tone to your skin tone. It really helps to elongate those legs out, again, because there isn't a direct finishing point. So let's say if this was bright red, for example, and they were flat like this, you're gonna notice them a lot more when you're kind of glancing at someone, whereas when they're a neutral shade, it just kind of blends everything in together. So yeah, neutral tones are definitely a win for a petite frame. Now, another tip when shopping for a pair of flats if you're petite is to go for flats which have a little bit more kind of around the sides. Now again, this is really hard to explain, but ballet flats, for example, can be really hard to pull off if you are petite, just because they give you kind of no support at the sides. So it just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, it just makes your legs look really flat. Whereas if you opt for a pair of flats which have this kind of section at the sides, I have no idea what they're called. I'm not into like fashion design or anything, but bits at the side really just help to kind of, again, sculpt your kind of leg and ankle into the shoe, and it just gives that nice seamless finish rather than it being really flat and your ankle is just there and you're just in the shoe, if that makes sense. Next tip would be to style the flats with high-waisted pieces. So this could be with a high-waisted pair of trousers, high-waisted jeans, high-waisted skirt, anything that just kind of brings that waistline up. It really helps, again, to elongate your legs in the flats, because it just creates more of the illusion that your waist is higher when, you know, you're glancing at yourself or someone glances at you. Your waist just looks like a little bit higher, so it makes your legs look longer. You can also do this by wearing cropped jackets. Anything that just kind of brings that waistline up is super flattering with flats. And another big tip I would suggest if you are shorter, so a big trend at the moment is to wear the black loafers with a white pair of socks. And I've tried this and it just doesn't really look right, and maybe it's just me, but I feel the reason for that is because when you are shorter, if you're wearing a white pair of socks or a contrasting pair of socks with the black loafers, it's just too much contrast and it really breaks up your leg and makes them look shorter. So I personally, and I feel like this would be beneficial if you are shorter as well, if you're wanting to wear the socks with the loafers, try and keep them the same colour or very similar colour socks. Again, this just really helps to kind of even out those proportions and doesn't chop your leg off with the contrasting white with the black. Another thing I would do as well is I would wear your flats with either your ankles on show, or I would wear the socks kind of going into the jeans, and I'll insert a clip of how I would style them in a minute so you kind of get what I mean. But I feel like that's a really good way to style them, and just an easy way when you're putting outfits together to know how to style the flats so that they are still flattering on you. So a good example of what I mean is what I've got on here. So I've just got on these beige suede flats with my ankles on show and then my blue jeans. And if you see, it just kind of really helps to blend in because the shoes kind of match my ankles, and it just really helps to elongate the whole look. Here is an example of what I meant by the socks and the loafers matching. So I've just got a pair of black socks on with the loafers, and it again just kind of really helps to blend everything in together. So definitely opt for a pair of socks which is a similar kind of colour to the flats that you are wearing, flats that you're wearing. And also wearing your flats with a pair of tights and a skirt and a dress works so well too, again just to really elongate all those proportions. And that is it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and the tips in it. As I said, everything I've kind of spoken about, you know, product-wise, items, pieces of clothing, I'll leave them down below in the description box. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you did like it. As I always say, it really, really does help me out, so I'd be very grateful for that. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye, guys.